Thank you, councillors, senior staff, members of the gallery. A warm welcome to you for our final meeting for 2023, our December Temora Shire Council meeting, and bid you a warm welcome. This meeting is being recorded and will be placed on Temora Shire Council's webpage for public information. All present today are reminded that whilst we speak, that we're agreeing that our views and our comments are being recorded and published. And further, we're also reminded that if or when that we're speaking, that we're to be respectful of others and, of course, using the appropriate language. Temora Shire Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures during this council meeting. Our acknowledgement of country. As we begin our meeting today, Temora Shire Council acknowledge the traditional owners of Temora Shire's land and waters, the Wiradjuri people. We acknowledge their continued connection to country and culture, and we pay our heartfelt respects to elders both past and present, acknowledging their contribution to the Temora Shire community, a place we all call home. Now, I'm pleased to invite Mrs. Lynn Hawthorne from the Temora Salvation Army Corps, who will be leading us in our opening prayer. Thank you very much, Mrs. Hawthorne. Now, would you like to use Councillor Judd's microphone? Thank you.
Father, thank you for the many blessings you bring to our lives. Be with us all at this special time of year as we celebrate the birth of your Son. Christmas can be an unhappy time for many, and in this our Temora district it is no different. We remember the frail, elderly, the isolated, the unwell, and those families struggling with financial difficulties, just to mention a few. Bless your family at this time of year with love and strength to face whatever lies ahead in their future, our future. Bless this meeting of our council members and continue to provide them all with the wisdom they need to be able to continue to provide the quality of service we all need and want. Keep them safe and well rested during the holiday break so they can return in the new year with new enthusiasm and ideas which will continue to keep the Temora district the happy, wonderful place it is. We pray everything to you and thank you for your unfailing love and guidance in all we do. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Mrs. Hawthorne. You have something?
I'll just leave you. I dabble in a bit of cooking, and there's just some Christmas biscuits there for you.
Wow.
They're in cellophane bags, and so they keep for 3 months. So if you don't choose to eat it straight away. And there's also the roster and the leather.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Hawthorne. That's lovely, and we'll be sure to declare that on our respective gift registers. But thank you so much for your kind and lovely prayers and your generous gifts. And Merry Christmas to you. Thank you very much. That's lovely. So they're for sweets for in-house dinner tonight. Now, any apologies? Councillor Bushell did indicate that she wasn't well, but she was aiming to be here at some point. So we'll... here's speaking of the devil. Welcome, Councillor Bushell. We hope you're feeling a lot better. Thank you. Now, any declaration of any interest, councillors, at this time, please?
Yes.
Councillor Good.
I declare that our firm is the solicitor for Dustin Rose, and so it's a pecuniary interest.
Thank you very much, Councillor Good. Any further declarations at this time? If not, we proceed to the confirmation of our November meeting minutes of Temora Shire Council. Is someone that was present care to move that they be received as a true and correct record, please? The Deputy Mayor, thank you. Councillor Reinhold moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. I've been advised, councillors, and just for your information, the General Manager has subtly reminded me that we have our Environmental Services and Engineering Secretary in the saddle tonight, so we need to show patience and grace So I'm sure we'll do that. And but thank you very much to the secretary for stepping up. You're in great hands with Mrs. Rams. Now, let's go to our matters arising from the previous minutes, Madam General Manager.
Thank you. Through you, Mr Mayor, there's no matters arising.
Thank you. Councillors, let's go to our business paper, which commences page 11. We have the Council's Youth Advisory Committee report, and someone moved that the report's received. Thank you, Councillor Bushell. Councillor Good moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Councillors, you'll see there I'm the chairman of the committee. Councillor Bushell sits on it as well. You'll see there are several items listed there. Very, very busy youth portfolio. And the report and its recommendations are there for you to consider. Councillor Bushell, did you have any comments? No? You're happy? I lost the voice. All right. Councillor Oliver.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to acknowledge the young people have acknowledged that us old volunteers up there with the work that we do. I'm just wondering if we don't get any younger volunteers, we may have to call on their services a little bit more. But yeah, no, I do appreciate that. The other thing is that, and this is sort of like business without notice, but there was a power pole fell over and it's evidently, I think we're out of power. I'm not sure where we're up to with that. I had a phone call just before I came here from Cherie Elvin. So I'm not sure.
Thank you. Well,
where things are up to.
But the team
thanks,
will note that.
Well, it's noted. I'm not sure what actually we'll get before at Christmas, but it's definitely noted.
Yeah, thank you. The girls are going to go up tomorrow, I think, and get all the stuff out of the fridge. And we look like we're going to take thermoses of hot water up for our morning tea tomorrow. So anyway, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Oliver. Nothing further from Youth Advisory? If not, is someone prepared to move the report and its recommendations, please, or is there an alternate? Councillor Bushell, Councillor Good, moved and seconded. Further discussion? There's no discussion. I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. That's not too fast, is it? No, good, thank you. Let's go to page 19, the minutes of the Assets and Operations Committee, and the Deputy Mayor, he is the chairman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Move the report be received.
Thank you. The Deputy Mayor's moved the reports received. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Good. Moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. The Deputy Mayor, have you any items you wish to highlight from the Assets and Operations Committee, please?
No, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillors, any items? If not, the Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Councillor Judd.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. The other day we spoke about, I'm talking about 4.5 and cyclists on Trungley Road, and we made a point about how our rural roads have been upgraded over the last 40 years, and I might just ask our assets manager engineer to just outline what he said the other day, just how we've the program over the last 40 years, that's what we've achieved in making our roads wider and safer, please.
Thanks, Councillor Judd. That's a good point. I'll go to the engineering asset manager.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. I guess probably should have put it in a report to council, but yes, I think the final upgrade of the Tara Betrick Road segment 7, Alex, which finished about a month ago. The engineering works manager. That I guess finalised a widening program where council's class 2.1 roads, so all of our highest order council roads that go to the different districts like the Coolman Road and the Trungley Hall Road and the Tara Betrick Road, Morangel Road, Old Cootamundra Road. So the highest order council roads were widened from 5.5 metres to 6.8 metres, and we've recently sort of increased that to about 7 metres. So I think that program's been running for about, my guess would be about 40 years, and Yeah, they left all the hardest segments till last. I know that much. But yeah, it got achieved about a month ago, which is it's a good achievement, and it's probably going to allow us to refocus some funds. Like pretty much every year we're always trying to or every second year we're trying to do a bit of that type of work, and so it'll free up a bit of money to spend on renewal or whatever. But that's about it.
Thank you, Mr Manager. Thank you, Councillor Judd. No further comments or questions in relation to the Assets and Operations Committee report. If not, there's a report and recommendations there for the Council to consider. Is there someone prepared to move the recommendations, or is there an alternate? Councillor Good? Thank you. Councillor Good's moving the Assets and Operations Committee report and recommendations. Is there a seconder for the motion, please? Thank you, Councillor Oliver. Moved and seconded. Discussion? There's no discussion. I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried, and I thank you. Let's proceed, councillors, over to page 55, where we start the minutes of Council's Economic Development Visitations Committee report, and Councillor McLaren is the chairman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that the report be received.
Thank you. Councillor McLaren's moved the report's received. Councillor Judd has seconded the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Councillor McLaren, did you have any items you wish to highlight?
There's a detailed report there on the Bald Archie of change in circumstance with that event, but the report is as written. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor McLaren. Councillor Good. Oh, right. Thank you. Comments, councillors, in relation to the Economic Development Visitations Committee report? If not, is someone prepared to move the report and its recommendations, or is there an alternate? Councillor Good has moved that way, seconded the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair. Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? There's no discussion. I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Contrary, no. I declare the motion carried, and thank you. Councillors, that is all the committee reports. We go to page 63 and we have delegates' reports. Do we have delegates' reports from councillors? The Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sinclair.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just one Goldfields hat on. Goldfields just opening a major achievement on Monday or Tuesday. The opening of the West Wyalong new reservoir, which included a lot of pipe work, new pipes through the main pipe through the town and so forth. It's increased their pressure up in places out there by 2 and 3-fold apparently. So that was something that was budgeted for, I think it was 13.7 million or something, and they end up doing it for 12.5 million or 12.2 million. So quite a saving on what their budget was, but yeah, very much appreciated by the Wyalong community. That's one of the big capital programs I've just had running and just all finished. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Mr Deputy Mayor. Other delegates' reports, we go to Councillor Oliver.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. I represented your good self at the Temora West School presentation, and I've got to say it's lovely to go to these things. To see the look on the kids' faces when they get these awards, or even when they get nominated, it's just lovely to see them. They hold their little certificates up and they've got a smile like a split watermelon on their face. It's really good. And because I'm in a situation where my back is not real good, so I thought I'd go and attend the St Anne's one too, and the same thing happens there too. It's just good to see those the kids and the smiles on their faces. It's really good to see. Good medicine, good for the soul. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Oliver, and I do thank you and Councillor Judd and Councillor Bushell for assisting in relation to presentations. I was only able to get to one this year, and it was very frustrating because I, like you, Councillor Oliver, enjoy it immensely, and I do thank you again. Councillor Judd.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. I represent council at the Airy Park School presentation. Like Councillor Oliver, it's amazing to see the young people. The younger ones, they bound up the stairs to the stage, but as they get older, they get a little bit slower, and it's great to see the enthusiasm. So it was a good day, and Michael McCormick was there, our federal member, and he made the observation that he's been to a number of the presentations where the girls have got the majority of all the prizes, but he said it was great to see Airy Park where the boys were sort of getting half the prizes, so it was good to share it around. So. And the second thing, on the following day, I represented council at the official opening of the new Elders shop at Airy Park. It's a 1.6 million investment in Airy Park, and I think it's amazing to see the very large shed. Councillor Irvine was there as well as a tradesman, and it was a great afternoon, and great to see people taking interest and confidence in our town. Thank you.
Exactly. Thanks very much, Councillor Judd, and thank you for stepping up. I was a late scratching, unfortunately, but it is certainly sends a great message to all and sundry that elders have a great confidence in Temora Shire's present and future. So thank you very, very much. Further delegates' reports. Of course, it was a very special occasion for those that were able to attend the Bob Aldridge Park new amenities opening. It was a real, very, very warm occasion, but it was terrific to have the member for Cootamundra there, and with representatives of the Schoolboys Rugby League, the Temora Touch Football, and council, and youngsters were there as well. It was just terrific to see, and again we commend our project manager, Mr Dunstan, and all involved, local tradesmen, volunteers, etc. They should be very, very proud of that facility. And just and that winds me up for delegates' reports. So nothing further. No, thank you. Let us proceed over the page 64, the Mayor's report for the month of November, and there's a recommendation on page 67 that the Mayor's report be noted. Thank you, Councillor Good. Councillor Oliver moved, seconded. Discussion? No discussion. I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Over to page 68. Motion to receive the staff reports, please. Thank you, Councillor Bushell. Councillor Good moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Over to page 69, the General Manager's report, 12.1, calendar of events. The General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The report is as written. However, I would like to add a couple of additional events that are coming up in February. On the 2nd of February, we have the member for Cootamundra, Steph Cook's roundtable occurring, and on the 23rd of February, the REROC board meeting is on, if they can also please be noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam General Manager. Councillors, you have the calendar of events there. If there's nothing else to add or amend, is someone prepared to move that the calendar of events with those inclusions be noted? Thank you, Councillor Good. Councillor Judd, thank you. Moved, seconded. Discussion? There's no discussion. I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Page 70, 12.2, the seals for December. The General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As written. Thank you.
Thank you. Reports as written. Councillor Good. Councillor Good, you, Mike.
Oh, sorry. I move the recommendation.
Thank you. So Councillor Good's moving that Council endorse the seal being affixed to the above document. Seconder for the motion, please. Thank you, Councillor Oliver. Moved and seconded. Discussion, Councillor Oliver.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. This is in relation to the cemetery, I guess.
my understanding, in relation to the cemetery.
Confidential.
Oh, yes, it's
I never said a thing.
confident, yeah, no. Thank you. It's the end of the year. It's the end of the year. No further discussion, I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. We have a item that has been deemed urgent that's also in the General Manager's report, and that is 12.3, Local Government Remuneration Tribunal submission. The General Manager. Remuneration.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. At the Assets and Ops meeting, we discussed whether or not we would make a submission to the tribunal in relation to the 2024 review, and it was determined that we would seek extension to be able to provide that submission following endorsement by Council on the 22nd of December. I was pleased to find out that we had that extension agreed to. What you have in front of you on in attachment 1 is a copy of the draft submission for consideration by Council. We can make amendments to that on the recommendation of Council and submit that tomorrow. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Madam General Manager. Go to Councillor Good.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just like to add a few extra things to that letter. I have shot an email to the General Manager, basically 4 extra points. The first one is that as a rural council, we still are required to have policies similar to that to larger councils, and we still need to do the work involved with that, the things such as the community strategic plan, the operational plan, the delivery program, other council strategies. I notice we've got 27 policies, I think, that we're going to review shortly. So there's still a significant amount of work, even though we're a small council, and it's similar to what the larger councils do as well. Secondly, that the allowance to councillors hasn't increased in line with the work required to do that. And in fact, I think if you looked at CPI increase between over the last 20 and 30 years, it's probably hasn't kept up with that either. Thirdly, the time needed to prepare for council's meetings, workshops, and attending those council meetings and workshops, committee meetings, it's extensive. As you know, sometimes we have business papers that are 600 or 700 pages long. We need to read through those and prepare and to have the meetings. And if the allowance is worked out on a time basis, it would be less than the minimum wage. And fourthly, and probably the main one that I think we need to consider is that to attract quality councillors, they do need the remuneration needs to be close to their wage. And I'm thinking that in the past we have had younger people on the council. They do need to take time off work. They don't get paid when they do take that time off, particularly at the moment where there is fairly significant financial pressures on people. If they've got to take time off and lose money as well, they're not likely to come to council. I think for a council to be a good council, it needs to be a fair representation of the community. So it needs to have people from all aspects of the community. Unfortunately, a lot of councils don't have that, and they only have limited people. And I think you need to have an increased income so they're not losing by coming to council.
Thank you, Councillor Good. I think what you're meaning effectively is that just to appeal to a broad range of candidates. Yeah. No, thank you very much. Councillor McLaren.
I agree with Councillor Good. I actually think the draft's really, really good, but maybe a small embellishment in those couple of areas, but I was really happy with what you'd put together. But it's a great submission. But yeah, thank you.
Thank
Sorry
you.
for the...
Look, the nameplates are there, and that sometimes doesn't help either. Thank you, Councillor McLaren. Yes, I think it reflects what Council's expressed previously as well, coupled with Councillor Good's remarks. Councillor Judd.
I think, I think that the draft's very good. It's picked up the May's point that your workload's the same as other councils in higher categories. And about 5 years ago now, I finished the master's degree, and one of the subjects of this was comparison between states in local government. And at the time, this is probably 1819, Queensland had brought a new law that their councils were getting about 62,000. So, which, going back to what Councillor Good was, virtually trying to make up a livable wage to be a councillor. So, I'm not advocating that for here, but just saying that somewhat other states are going that way. You know, so.
Yeah, thanks very much, Councillor Judd. If there's no further comments, is someone prepared to move the endorsement of the submission and further with those additional comments as articulated by Councillor Good? Councillor Good?
I'll move that way.
Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Judd. Thank you. Moved. Seconded. Discussion. There's no discussion. I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Is there anything further of a late urgent nature from the General Manager, please?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Now, we go to page 71, the Engineering Services Department report, 13.1, Temora Athletics Club request, formerly known as the Temora Little Athletics Club, which some of us were members of in years gone by. We go to the Engineering Asset Manager.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Sorry. Thanks, Mr Mayor. Report is as written. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Mr Manager. I go to Councillor Good.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I move the recommendation. I think it's a common sense approach.
Yeah. Thanks, Councillor Good. Seconder, Councillor Bushell. Thank you. Moved and seconded. The recommendation is, for those listening, that Council approve in principle. I'm assuming that's, we'll have to wordsmith this. Approve in principle, the proposal in principle that Temora Australian Football Netball Club and the Sports Council be consulted prior to reporting back to Council. Does that flow? The Manager? So does that capture effectively what you're moving? That Council approve the request in principle, subject to consultation from the Australian Football Club and the Temora District Sports Council prior to reporting back to Council.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And Councillor Bushell, you happy with that? Thank you. Moved, seconded, discussion. Councillor McLaren.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I wondered if the delegates could consider not having a shipping container on the end of the shed there, because I think a shipping container, we've done so much wonderful new embellishments up at Nixon Park. I just think shipping containers are a thing of the past, and that ideally that shed could be extended to provide more storage space across there. So I just wanted the Little Athletics and the Committee Sports Council to consider an extension of that shed, whether that be by way of a little grant or a loan to the Athletics Club, but I think a shipping container would detract from the Nixon Park. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor McLaren. Those comments are noted, and thank you very much for that. Any further discussion on the motion in relation to the Temora Athletics Club request? If not, I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Aye. To the discussion. Sorry, Councillor Bushell. Yes, if you just speak up. Sorry, I'm going to go to Councillor Bushell.
Sorry, but the shipping container's existing, isn't it? So it's just a relocation, isn't it? It's currently there. It's not a, it's not a new one.
Thank you, Councillor Bushell. The Assets Engineering Manager.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. So you'll see on page 73 where it's currently located. I believe it was actually moved to undertake the netball court upgrades, and that's where it currently sits, and they wanted to move it back closer. But, you know, I think it's a valid point to discuss, and I don't think it would be a deal breaker. I think, yeah, we'll talk about it.
So the Athletics Club have purchased that, Mr. Manager.
I assume so. I don't know when.
We can investigate all of that, because there will be a report back to council. So thank you. Further discussion, Councillor McLaren.
Oh, one more thing. That shed it used to have a drain to the west, and then it would travel down beside Nixon Park Oval, and that's why there was sort of this big bog hole there. So could that shed be drained to the drain on the eastern channels to get the water away from the oval?
Thank you. The Engineering Assets Manager.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yes, certainly can. So, it's, you know, that was part of this. I think they realised we're upgrading the car park and we need to sort this out first. But what we'll do is all the water that comes off the netball court, the shed, will be directed across, the car park and into the drain on the eastern side. And that's a big focus of what, I guess, a big focus of why they're wanting to change what they're changing. Just try and keep the water away from both their facilities and the new shot put run it.
Thank you. Further discussion, Councillor Irvine.
Just a comment in regards to the shed. It's a shared shed, so it's shared by the junior Aussie rules as well as the Little Athletics. So there's...
And the Temora Golden Gift, if the truth be known in the day, they contributed as well.
No.
I can speak.
You.
Through you, Mr.
The manager.
Yeah, thanks, through you, Mr. Mayor. I believe when the cricket shed was built on the other side, there was a deal done that athletics have that whole shed, and the junior AFL and the senior AFL are over in the one near the cricket nets.
That's right. I forgot about that too. Thank you very much. If there's no further discussion on this motion for the last time, I will be going to... No, that's fine. We've got to get this right. And you're not feeling up to snuff. So if there's no further discussion, I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Nothing of an urgent, late nature from the engineering department. Manager?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Manager?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Let's go to page 75, the Environmental Services Department reports, and they have nil to report on this occasion. Anything of a late nature urgent, Mr. Director?
No, thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Let's go to page 76, the Department of Administration and Finance report 15.1, the Riverina Regional Library arbitration update, and that's in the hands of the Director.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So just an update on the Riverina Regional Library arbitration. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Madam Director. I go to Councillor Bushell.
I'd like to move the recommendation and note the report, but I do have a comment once it's...
Thank you. Councillor Bushell's moving the recommendation, that is, a council receive and note the report. Councillor Good has seconded the motion. Discussion. Councillor Bushell.
I'm fully aware that, thank you, Mr. Mayor, I'm fully aware that Coolman Council have, their executive team have been big drivers in this process. So I just wanted to know whether we could, shed a light by saying thank you in a process of a written correspondence from us. I know it's still going, but if we can just sort of thank them for their time.
Thanks, Councillor Bushell. I certainly know we've verbally done that. However, if you wish to consider moving a separate motion after we consider this one, then I'd be happy to receive it.
Do I do it again further?
Well, you probably could, if the mover and seconder were happy. Thank you. And further, that a letter
be
of
sent
appreciation to the Temora Shire Council, who are the executive council in charge of Riverina Regional Library in terms of the administration of it. Thank you. Further discussion, I will mention to you that today I was in receipt of an email from the Mayor of Wagga Wagga City, and he has asked that a meeting of mayors occur to try and sort this out. Now, some of you may recall that I initiated a meeting with REROC mayors and general managers in conjunction with Riverina Regional Library board members that were available, and we did that in July of last year, I think the 14th from memory, and that was with Wagga Wagga present as well. A lot of waters passed under the bridge then, of course, but we've indicated that we'd be pleased to meet. That would be in January, late January next year. But unfortunately, it appears that it's another example that Wagga Wagga don't wish to play nicely in the sandpit when it comes to regional collaboration, and it's very frustrating. I mean, we still have obviously a good relationship with Wagga, but we don't make it any secret our disappointment, particularly in relation to this. However, if there's potential to try and resolve the issue, well, we've got to be there at the table as Temora Shire is concerned. So I just thought I'd let you know, because that's only just happened this afternoon. Councillor McLaren, you sit on the RRL board with the Director of Admin and Finance. Do you have any comments?
No, not really. Just it says on the last page of this report that the original agreements were deficient in a lot of respects, and where the fruit of this terrible document is in our hands, and it's just wasting a lot of money. It's very disappointing.
Thanks, Councillor McLaren. You're spot on. Spot on. But I do fully support the addition, personally, as Mayor, of the motion from Councillor Bush and Councillor Good. The leadership provided by the Coolum Shire, in particular the General Manager, Mr Donoghue, has been outstanding, and of course it is most appropriate that we should be acknowledging that support. And keeping in mind is also the Treasurer of REROC as well. So Coolum, they do their bit for the region. So Councillor Bushell, before I put the motion.
I should declare something in that motion then, should I?
Yep.
Being an employee of Coolman.
Thank you. So Councillor Bushell has declared that as an employee of Coolum Shire. Thank you. So if there's no further discussion, I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. And we do thank our Director as well, because you've spent a lot of time in Sydney and etc. In relation to this saga, and it is a saga, but hopefully it'll come to some definite conclusion next year. So thank you, Madam Director. We go over the page 80, 15.2, Code of Conduct Statistics. The Director.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So a report that we're required to put up to Council under Part 11 of the procedures for the Code of Conduct. Council hasn't previously received one of these reports because all of our returns to the Office of Local Government have previously been nil returns. Under Part 12.1 of the procedures, all of the details of any Code of Conducts are to remain confidential. So I'm a little bit limited with what can be said in this space, but I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Madam Director. Councillors, you have the report there in front of you. Councillor McLaren.
Just a question, is the value on page 82, is that budgeted for in our budget?
Thank you, Councillor McLaren. Go to the Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor, no, it's not.
Thank you. Any other comments, councillors? If not, you have the report there, and the recommendation that I suppose it should be that Council receive and note the reporting statistics. Councillor Good.
I'll move that way.
Thank you. Councillor Good has moved that way. Second for the motion, Councillor Judd. Thank you. Moved. Seconded. There's no further discussion. I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Nothing of an urgent, late nature from the Director. Oh, I beg your pardon. We do, right in front of me. I beg your pardon. We do have a late report, and that is 15.3, Council's Disability Inclusion Action Plan. The Director.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So this is our Disability Inclusion Action Plan. We're required to maintain a plan, and this one replaces our plan that expired in 2021. So I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Madam Director. Councillor Bushell.
I'd just like to move the recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Bushell is moving the recommendation that Council receive the Disability Inclusion Action Plan for 2023 to 2025 and note the report. Thank you. Councillor Good moved, seconded. Discussion. Councillor Bushell, further discussion.
I just want to thank you, Mr Mayor. Sorry, I'm not thinking straight.
No, that's
But
all right.
this policy just gave me all the feels from having a mother all my life who's had a disability herself. It's it's really good kudos for us, and I absolutely love the photos throughout this plan. It just so well done to the collaborators for it. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bushell. Councillor McLaren.
I'd like to reinforce those comments from Councillor Bushell. I think the Access and Equity Committee is really creating a great focus on this area of council, and I've really noticed in the last 5 years or so we're really starting to tick off some really great access things. If you see on page 13 all the things we're doing, so I think it's terrific. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor McLaren. Further comments and discussion on the motion? If not, I'll put the motion to you, and that is to receive and note the Disability Inclusion Action Plan. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Now, nothing of an urgent late nature, Madam Director.
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
No, thank you. Let's go to page 84, correspondence, 16.1, Greyhound Racing Club of Temora, the General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We've received a request for a sponsorship for the Temora Greyhound Racing Club. The correspondence is in front of you, as well as an overview of where our donations budget is up to for this financial year. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Madam General Manager. Councillor Oliver.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll move that we donate $500 as in previous years towards the Greyhound Racing Club. They do a really good job in bringing lots of people to the town, so that's it. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Oliver. Seconded, Councillor Reinhold. Moved, seconded. Discussion on the motion. Just in adding to Councillor Oliver's remarks, it's a remarkable just how much money is involved in the Greyhound Racing Club. The General Manager and I went up only but a few weeks ago and to one of their meetings, and we're advised that there's over $1 million in prize money because they're racing every week. Plus they're employing a multitude of people, a full-time operations officer or secretary, and other roles as well. It's a heck of a lot of money, and of course they're a club that have gobbled up other clubs, Cowra, Young, so they're punching so well above their weight, and I think this support would mean a great deal. So I'll put the motion to that's been moved by Councillor Oliver and Councillor Reinhold that Council donate $500 to the Temora Greyhound Racing Club for their Cup Carnival in 2024. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Any urgent late correspondence, Madam General Manager?
Through you, Mr Mayor. No, there isn't. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillors, over to page 87. Business with notice, we have nil. Notice of motion, nil. Urgent business without notice. There's no urgent business without notice. Then on page 88, motion to receive the information paper, please. The Deputy Mayor, thank you. Councillor Oliver moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Councillors, any items out of the information paper? Councillor Bushell.
Sorry, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm talking too much for a person who doesn't have a voice. I just noted with our road safety officer at our traffic committee how impressive he was.
Sorry?
How impressive he was when he articulated himself through the process. I know in the past we've sort of had staff here to sort of meet and greet. I know we met Patrick Kay when he was appointed. So is that something that we could sort of consider?
Thank you, Councillor Bushell. The General Manager, you have any comments, please?
Through you, Mr Mayor, that definitely could be arranged. Thank you for that suggestion.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Councillor Bushell. Councillors, anything else in the information paper? I do note on here, councillors, on page 95, you see that we have this, the cash and investments report, and I got, of course, just a little too excited on this occasion, seeing there about halfway down the infrastructure fund. I just wonder whether the General Manager or the Director of Administration Finance may be able to tease out exactly what this infrastructure fund has in terms of the funds available, and those funds are already earmarked, please, if the General Manager is happy. Or you can take it on notice.
Yeah.
The Director.
Sorry, thank you, Mr Mayor. So the infrastructure fund in the report on page 95 says that we have $1.4 million, but a significant portion of that's already been flagged for potential future projects, some of which are potentially confidential, but sort of unallocated. We've got about 297,000 that's not flagged specifically for other projects that may happen in the future.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Madam Director, and you'd agree to consider ways that perhaps that can be fleshed out as part of the reporting mechanisms going forward, please?
Yes, we'll look into that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Anyway, I just wanted to draw that to Council's attention and tease that out because, I got a bit excited. This doesn't happen all that often. Councillor McLaren.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Town Hall year-to-date figures compared to previous years, and it was quite a bit higher than previous years. I know
What
COVID's
page, Councillor McLaren,
page
please?
103. I just wondered whether the Director of Administration and Finance is optimistic that that will improve maybe over the summer holidays, or whether that's going to be that sort of figure every year going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McLaren. The Director.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I did have a look at that. Last year's was probably higher than it has been in previous years, so we had several regular users. The ADF was one of those, and they haven't been using it near as much this financial year as they were the previous.
Thank you. Councillors, anything else other than you'll note that our Temora Shire ratepayers continue to do us proud. Madam Director, you must be very, very pleased. Where was it? You must be very, very pleased in relation to how the rates income is tracking. Where was it?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. Our ratepayers are pretty amazing, actually. This is one of the performance indicators where council performs. We've probably got one of the best ratios in the state, actually. So, yeah, ratepayers do a fabulous job of paying their rates on time. So that's great.
Thank you. It is. It really, really is, considering, things are tough. Councillors, also on page 126, received a lovely letter from our state president from LGNSW, Councillor Turley, congratulating us, of course, on being announced in the top 7 of the most welcoming towns and shires within New South Wales. It was just so lovely, the interviews that we had about it and the calls that we received from our fellow councils across the state congratulating us that were just so happy for us, and it was just really lovely. So it's something that every one of us should be so proud of, and just make sure we keep up the good work. Nothing further, councillors, in relation to the information paper? If not, in accordance with Section 10A of the Local Government Acts 1993, advise that there are several matters that are deemed confidential, and accordingly I require a motion to have those matters considered. Thank you, Councillor Good, the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Ryan, Councillor Sinclair. Moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. In closed session. Sorry, Councillor Bushell.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just wanted to know about the comment at committees, I think it was, regarding the meeting times and scheduling, and whether that was going to be brought back to us. There's a comment by Councillor Irvine.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Bushell. Not that I'm aware of. Yeah, thank you. Councillors, I now defer to the General Manager, who will now advise of the confidential motions brought in to open. The General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In relation to the minutes of the Assets and Operations Committee held on the 12th of December, it was resolved that the reports be received, and it was resolved that reports and recommendations as presented be adopted. In relation to the minutes of the Economic Development and Visitation Committee held on the 12th of December, it was resolved that the reports be received, and it was resolved that the reports and recommendations as presented be adopted. In relation to a request from a councillor, it was resolved that council denies the request. In relation to the road construction works, it was resolved that council notes the report. In relation to the Crown Land correspondence, it was resolved that council advised Crown Lands that council wished to acquire the land. In relation to the Employee Incentive Scheme nomination, it resolved that council awards an Employee Incentive Award. In relation to the proposed land purchase, it was resolved that council staff be authorised to make an offer to the landowner of the agreed amount. It was resolved that council moves the motions from closed to open, and it was resolved that council moves out of closed council and into open council at 6:21 p.m. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Madam General Manager. Councillors, you've heard those motions that have been resolved in closed session, and I require a motion to formally adopt them into open session. Thank you, Councillor Oliver. Councillor Good, moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. There being no further business before council, I simply wish to say thank you to each and every one of you as councillors, the General Manager, to you and your directors and managers and all staff. Thank you very much to all of you for the year that you have put in to this council and to our Shire community. Please know we appreciate it very deeply, and I want you and your families to have a great Christmas and have a rest, have a spell, and we'll recharge and come back bigger and better in 2024, because it'll be a big year and an exciting year for Temora Shire. So with those words, I thank you and declare the meeting closed.